Hi everyone, this is Susie from Minnesota. I garden in Zone 4, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of my garden. It's going to be a little bit of the containers and vegetables and my flower beds, but it's getting close to the end of July. Everything looks really good right now, so hope you enjoy. These are doing really good. The Caladiums are just loving this area. I wasn't sure how they were going to like it because this gets that brutal sun in the afternoon that beats off the house. The only thing that's kind of taken it a little bit is the greater quaking oats grass back here. This is still green over here, but as I come over here, and I'm leaving it because it still kind of looks like a dried flower instead, but it's browning pretty good in here. You can see down there. It could be maybe getting too much water because I know the Caladiums like a lot of water, but it still looks okay. And then you really can't see the spider plant, but I do like how it's sending its little babies down and it's just kind of trailing a little bit. This area is filling in nicely. I did have to replace the greater quaking oats grass in here too. It was doing the same thing, so I went with baby tut papyrus grass. At least I don't have to worry about overwatering that. Sun patients are doing better. They're still not quite as big as I was expecting, but so far I'm very happy with how my cuttings of Coleus are doing in this area. They look wonderful. I was a little afraid that they were going to get bleached because, like I said, this does get a lot of that after, I would say about 4 or 5 hours, but it gets that afternoon sun. And until this tree gets a little bit bigger to shade this area. But today it's supposed to be in the 90s. We have a heat index and it's going to get close to 100. So this whole weekend again is supposed to be very warm. We had a little reprieve here for like the last 3 days. It was in the mid 70s, low 80s. Oh, it was beautiful. It's early morning right now. One nice thing about it being dry is that I have not had a lot of slug damage. So I have not laid any bait down at all this entire season. But every Solomon seal still looking great. Lots of flower spikes on my hostas. I have not gotten to any of them yet. Eventually I will. The Sun King Aurelias are just huge this year. I'm very impressed with those. This hosta here is Seducer. Then I have these little ones that are putting out these little tiny flowers down here, which are so cute. And that is Sun Mouse Hosta. This one is Dreamweaver. not doing too good, but I have been keeping this watered as good as I can. I don't know the name of that one. And then this one is Mighty Mouse Hosta. The Caladiums are doing very well here considering how dry we've been, but this is Carolyn Wharton, and that is absolutely stunning. So all these Caladiums that you see were just bulbs that I put in. They weren't established plants. So I did like groupings of 3s or 5s, and they formed these clusters. And that's basically been since the first week in June, since they put on all of this growth. I would consider that really good. That one is Miss Muffet. This shrub right here is just a native honeysuckle bush. It's very aggressive, so I do have to control that pretty aggressively. You can see the Caladiums just popping through down here. I'm still debating if I want to move them. I know this Hosta right here is king size Hosta. This one is Cross the Regal. One of my favorites. This one I don't know. So I would say 50% of my hostas I know the names of, and the others I don't, because I got them from friends. They split them for me and they didn't know the names either, so I try my best. This one could be Regal Splendor. And I think it is, because it's a pretty common one, and then I know is that the parent plant? I'm trying to think. I think it might be. I do love the Caladiums. I like how they offer another foliage, even like texture, like the waviness of it, very delicate. This Coleus here is doing really great. I think why it is because when I water this container here, it's getting some of the water from that, and also when I water that one. And all of the Coleus in my gardens are cuttings I started. I did not pay for any of them, at least this year. They're doing pretty good, but the other day I had some digging by one, and I looked, and the roots are just kind of staying in the root ball just because the ground is so hard and compact. And that's just the moisture problem. But again, I've seen one earwig, so I was a little surprised. Another Coleus. You can see there's a little damage on the leaves there, but this is a wetter area back here. I'm not sure why, but I think that's why these are doing so good, some in substance. Favorite extra large Hosta. I'm just going to show this over here quick. And I'm doing some of the containers because they're talking possibly some storms. And I'm not sure when I'm going to do a tour of the containers next. This is unbelievable. That's filled in very nicely, and I love the contrast with the banana here. I do have lemon coral sedum sticking out down there, but that may not have been needed, but I still like it. Love goat's beard. I do have a soaker hose laid in here. I think I watered a few days ago. Again, I don't water my perennials a whole lot. I kind of leave Mother Nature do its job, but sometimes I intervene. This container here is doing wonderfully. That has Carolyn Wharton in it, along with a dragon wing begonia. Looks like the begonia is getting taken over, but that is gorgeous. So this Coleus is doing pretty good. I mean, it is getting a little bulk to it. This Hosta here is World Cup, and you can kind of see why. Love that one too. I love how you have some that are vase shape going more upright and some that are like this. And they just kind of go down. I love that. So back here is where I had a Coleus and something kept digging and digging and it was breaking, and I just finally pulled it. This is Hakana coal grass that I had moved from another area in my garden, and it's doing okay, but it's not the best. Then again, if you look at Hakana coal grass, most of them are not hardy to my zone, and I'm a zone 4. I do take my chances sometimes. You can see down here, I've had some digging, probably by squirrels. Some casualties in there. But it should recuperate. Curly Fries Hosta. I'm thinking this one might be Diamond Lake. I'm not sure on that. I did have takes by all of this, and then the wind and squirrels just came and whipped pretty much all of them away. So if anyone knows what some of these are, I'd be glad to know. It helps out a lot. I don't have a really good labeling system. What I should have done is just done a diagram or just take a picture of my garden and label it that way. These grasses look good, but honestly, I don't think they're going to be a long-term grass because they are hardy from a zone 6 and up. It's early morning and that sun is really warm right now. It's crazy. It's been a warm one this year for Minnesota, that's for sure. Oh, I do have the tag on this one. I want to say this one might be Seducer also. Oh no, this one is Afterglow. I think that's in the same family. I have some weeding to do. Isn't that bird beautiful? It must be nesting over here. Hoping you can see this with the sun shining right on it. This doesn't get a whole lot of sun. I would say dappled sun, some morning sun here, and a little afternoon. These look tough. I had moved them from a different area. These are Daylilies. They're really throwing a fit. We'll see what happens next year. This baby papyrus grass is loving this container. I'm very happy. I was going to show you, trying to name the ones I know. I'll have to look at my other tours or my older ones and see if I can get more names for you. This one right here is Humpback Whale. Love it. And then I'm pretty sure this one over here that's kind of got the rippled edges is Niagara Falls. All of these hostas in this area kind of surrounding the tree are extra large hostas. And then, should have probably done it over there. And then over here where you see the hosta that's got the cupped leaves, that's a beechwood drinking gourd. All of these hostas that kind of surround the tree here, I had gotten them from New Hampshire hostas online, and they were just plugs. Still a little spendy, but when planting around trees, digging holes can be very difficult. So when you get the plants and they're plugs, you don't have to dig a hole quite so deep as sometimes you can get hostas in really large containers, close to, I would say, this size right here, which I will hit on over here. But yeah, planting them as plugs, and they're doing pretty good. And I was very, very happy with the quality. One year I had gotten hostas from a garden center, and they had maybe 2 or 3 stalks, so about plug size, but they were in your gallon container. So when I went to plant, the roots had not taken hold. So basically it was a plug popped into this gallon container with the soil, and so when I planted it, the plug just popped out and I had all of this loose soil. Probably would have been better going with New Hampshire hostas. I was a little bummed about that because it was a really good garden center too. That was all of the plants I got, so not sure what was up with that. So I basically paid for soil. Well, and I mean, I used the soil too, so it went into the hole. I'm so sorry. That sun is beating down on me, something fierce. So back here, this is Empress Wu, and that is the one that came in, oh, I would say it was bigger than a gallon container. And this one, when I first got it, it was like the hosta of the year. I want to say 7 years ago. It was $50. And I mean, I took a chance because gardening in a zone 4, spending that kind of money on plants is a little, but yeah, it was a huge container. That hole I had to dig, took forever. So that's why I'm like, I prefer the plugs. And honestly, she only had 2 stalks. The extra large hostas are slow growers, so you do have to give them time. This is going to be a long tour because I'm going to probably hit on some vegetables too. I had a viewer that said that she grows great, or was it great blue lobelia, and hers doesn't look like this She's thinking it could be creeping bellflower, if I remember correctly. So it could be. I looked it up and it looks pretty close to that. So I know I never planted this, so I had people tell me it was great blue lobelia, but it does have a home here. But it could be creeping bellflower, so hopefully it isn't as, I mean, it is aggressive, so I will have to keep up with that, but it is pretty. The pollinators like it. I love it when you guys give me information because that helps me out a lot too. I know most of my flowers, but when they self-seed from, I'm going to guess the birdies. I love the bird song. Early morning is the best. Lady's mantle is still looking really good. Giant fleece flower is kind of going over, still holding its own. I'm leaving the flower heads just because it's a pollinator attractor. And again, this daylily is not blooming for you. I just can't get a break here with this daylily. And then back here, I did trim that up. It's aggressive. It'll work. Sabaria sorbifolia. And this sedum here looks really good. That's Autumn Joy. Definitely liking the drier season. At least this one is. Bee balm still looks good. I'm leaving it. You can see some of it's kind of going over. And here I have a cardinal flower. It's just starting. I'm surprised. I thought it died. It's native to my area. This beast in here is late Fig Wort. So sorry about the sun. I'll try and get a different view. And then back here, clematis is still looking wonderful. Again, I'll go with a different view. My rose here is getting its second flush of blooms. I had trimmed that up maybe 2 weeks ago. Creeping Jenny is starting to come out in here, so I have to be careful. You can see that's getting a little too close. It will take root into the grass, so you do have to be careful about that. Look at this daylily. Isn't she beautiful? She's a smaller one. Don't know the name though. I'm sorry about that. But loaded with blooms. Unreal. This one was blooming the other day, so of course not today. But this is one of my favorites. Look at this one. I don't know the name, but it's almost rubbery feeling. It feels fake. But there is a nice scent to it, and you can see that it's ruffled on the edges. And it's like almost a white yellow and then a little yellow tinge on the outside. It smells wonderful. Really like that one. Oligaria, this is the one perennial that I am keeping watered here because it likes a lot. And it's easy to get to, so, which works for me. Can I show you here? Pollinators love this too. The late Fig Wort. It is really tall. I had it as a see-through plant, but it's super, super tall. I'm trying to show. It's also a native. Yeah, sometimes the see-through plants are really hard to get a good picture of. Joe Pye here is putting on its flower heads. Be a little bit yet. It looks like a morning glory is starting to twine in there. And I'm very happy that this is finally blooming. Should be variegated, but hey, I'm getting some blooms. And I have that one over here. I have two kinds in here, but from past experience when I've grown morning glories, I've had it where I've planted all the seeds in the same packet and they've all come up a different color, so it's a nice little surprise. Back in here, I want to say this is another just native, a black-eyed Susan or brown-eyed Susan. Gonna come over here real quick. We did get rain the other day, just a downpour. It was pretty extreme. A lot of my flowers, I got rid of some, cut some because it was just, did a number on them. But hey, we got rain, right? But this is, I don't remember this one daylily. I'll have to go back in my older tours and look for you. It's kind of a peachy color. But you can see the rain just kind of smushed down the lady's mantle, but I'm still leaving it. Some of it's popped back up. You can see over here. I'll do a quick tour here and then go to the back. Going bananas. This is the part where I'm kind of like, And I like this area because it's straight back to my compost bins, but I'm not having a lot of luck with the zucchini, so if that does end up breaking, I'll just plant something else there. It's quite lovely back here though. Nice breeze, shady. You can see this clematis is starting to wind down. But again, it looks better from the front because it does get that afternoon sun there. Still spectacular though. Still amazing that both these clematis were pretty much chewed down to the ground because of the bunnies. And they put on that much growth. Pink mink is a very dainty clematis, but also prolific. This one has done great this year. It's probably the most blooms I've ever seen on it, and this too is a little dainty. I wish I knew the name of this hosta because this is probably the bluest hosta I have in my garden. But that too was from a friend. And then, let's see. That's what the flowers look like on this. Does anyone know what this is? Maybe it is Asclepias. Because I know I have that over here. If you can see. And that has a nice scent to it. The monarchs love this, and I leave it for them. Every now and then I'll see a caterpillar on it. Maybe it's just, and then I have this super tall stuff in here. Still not flowering. It's hanging its head down like it's embarrassed about something. So, if anyone knows, I could be growing a weed there. Definitely have a lot of aggressive growers in here. I love the bee balm. I'm just so happy that that took that area over. I had a little clump like last year. It was in this area, and then this hosta got massive. I think today will be a good day for trimming up some of the flower spikes on here because there's a nice breeze. Bugs have not been too bad though, so finally have a day off. I feel like it's been forever. And I'm going into the sun, and I'm sorry about that. So over here you can see this is blooming. Very happy that it's blooming. This is Queen of the Prairie Pendula. Usually this is much taller. I would say at least, I'm 5.5, so this is about my height. So you can see with the lack of moisture, and this plant loves moisture, and that's why it's spread like this, because last year we were wet the entire time in spring, summer, fall, and winter. So that's why it's so aggressive. I think next year it might not be so aggressive, and I might have some that might not come back. But I'm not worried because it is aggressive. You can see though that the leaves are looking really horrible down here. I don't have anything on drip. I do have the soaker hoses around certain areas, like hostas require a lot, but this is a hard area to get to. I might set up some soaker hoses next year depending, but you know, my season is pretty much a wet one. Being dry is a little abnormal for me. Isn't the honeysuckle glorious? I love that it kind of blooms, puts off like its biggest show in, what would you say, early summer, late spring, and then it blooms sporadically, and I love it. I'm gonna sniff it real quick. No, see my honeysuckle, this has no scent. Maybe I'm smelling it at the wrong time. Maybe, you know, certain things have a stronger smell, like the nicotiana smells wonderful at night. But yeah, this is, I was thinking about taking some cuttings from this. Super tall. But you can see it just absolutely loves it over here because this does get a good amount of sun. And I'm just letting it do what it wants to do. I kind of like when vines do that. I want to say I might have a bird nesting in this one here, so that's probably the bird I'm hearing. This is starting to color up. It's a little early, but it's still beautiful. This does put out berries that the birds absolutely love. I need to be better about watering this because I know that takes a little bit more water too. It's a small tree. And one of my favorites. Slow grower, so. This is a smoke bush, and this is just from being dry back here. This is hardy from a zone 5 and up. My sister had purchased this. She absolutely loved it because she loved the shape of because they're so round, and it's like if it gets more sun, it's kind of a lime green. And back here, let's just say it's surviving. It's not really thriving. And I keep having to cut it down because I'm always having dieback. So that just kind of tells you that, you know, it's not a fan of my zone. So back here with the vegetables, you can see this hasn't been in the sun yet, so this isn't being caused by sun or heat. It's still a decent temp. It's just, I'm guessing squash vine borer got to this. And I'm just at a loss as I might just get rid of it. This is a bush acorn squash. And that's what happens with the squash vine borers. I wish I had better luck, but I don't have a whole lot of fruit production, so I do feel maybe I should just pull it and plant something that I get a lot of. It's still early enough in my season where I'm thinking I could probably plant another crop of beans. But yeah, some look better than others. You can see I do have a little fruit production going on down there. So I might leave that one. But do you think it's really worth it for a couple? Or plant something that's just going to give me a good crop? I love squash, but I can also get it at a farmer's market too. These zinnias are absolutely gorgeous. They're huge. And then over here, I'm not happy with this variety of zucchini. It's called Sure Thing. It's supposed to be better for northern climates, cooler climates. I mean, granted, we haven't been that cool this year, but definitely cooler than the south. And I swear I read that it didn't need bee pollination. Well, it hasn't been doing really great, because you can see I've had a lot like this in here, and then a lot like that one back there. And to me, that's not being pollinated. I do have these two growing here. You can see these leaves are really prickly. I've pulled one off of this plant so far. It's not a lack of water, because this is an area that I've been watering, and I'm to the point where it's like, I might have to stop with that. But yeah, I do have one down here, so I might just leave it. The zinnias are looking wonderful. I need to do some deadheading. This is Queenie Red Lime Zinnia, and it's nice, don't get me wrong, but I think as far as coloring goes, it's not spectacular. It's definitely not something that it's not a focal point, which, you know, sometimes is not a bad thing, because not everything has to just be like right in your face, wow. But you know, whereas you can really see the purple from, excuse me, from far away. But it's still cute. And I am keeping it, but not sure if I'm going to grow it again. Dragon tongue bush bean in here is just starting to flower. This is late. I haven't been watering my beans, I will tell you that. So that's on me. But I've never had to water beans before. Actually, I've never had to water much of anything before. These are purple teepee. They've done the best this year. They've been very prolific. I've harvested 2 times from them, and they are still putting out beans galore. You can see down here. Very happy with this. Last year it was reversed, where purple teepee barely did anything and dragon tongue produced like crazy. Plus side though, early, later, so I'm not just bombarded with a lot of beans at one time, right? Cucumbers are just starting for me. I know it's a little late. I know a lot of you probably have harvested a lot, but then again, I have to explain my area here. As my trees, yes, these beautiful but annoying trees sometimes, they cast a lot of shade, and they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so if you look, that's where, it's never a good sound. Yeah, it's an ambulance. I also live next to a nursing home. I hate that sound. too many bad memories. But yeah, you can see I'm just starting. But, oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted. But I was explaining, this used to be like full direct sun, where it didn't get any shade whatsoever. It was a very productive garden. And, oh, you can see I've still got some purple teepee over here too. These are good little dudes. But yeah, as the tree's gotten bigger and everything has grown in, it's getting more, you can see this is getting some morning sun. And I would say I might be pushing it with getting 8 hours. So my vegetables give me a good amount, but probably not as much as it could if I was in a full sun area. On that note though, because they get a little shade, especially since we've been so hot this year, they've been lasting a lot longer. So yeah, I've got some picking to do here. These are early Russian. They were not that early because they're coming on as everything else is. I have some that are vining into here. I'm letting it. I'm like, go ahead. I've got one down here, so I'm hoping I have enough to make a cucumber salad. Cucumbers are one of my favorites, along with tomato. Well, everything I have in my garden, I love. Some things I experiment with. This is Muncher. I've gotten some off of this. I know I have a bunch of little ones on. Bone dry. The garden is just bone dry, no matter how much watering I do. So that's been the issue this year, is watering. And I think if we would have had the moisture, this would have been probably a spectacular year. There's ups and downs from this. This I just redid. I'm not going to take it off. I re-sowed some seeds. I ran out of kohlrabi seeds. So I got to look for some of those. I'm hoping I can find some. I can't believe I ran out. I never run out. So I have 3 rows of beets in here, and then I have a row of beets in here. And I've been keeping this watered. I re-sowed some peas. We'll see how well they do. But if you can look at, it's crazy. Absolutely. And the other day it rained maybe half an inch, and I came out that day and the ground, it still was just dry. So I have this under net because the birds like to come in here and dig it up. If I can get my hand on some kohlrabi seeds, I'll be planting 2 rows in here. I harvested everything. Kohlrabi was the best ever this year. So this worked out fantastically. Beets, on the other hand, I got enough for a taste, but that was enough. So I'm like, oh, they were so good, so sweet, tiny, but definitely worth another sowing. Okay, my peppers look really bad. So, oh, I do have some on. Huh, they look how gnarly they look. I don't know, maybe they like being stressed out. Because if you look over here, I know the peas were shading this, but, they don't look the best though. These are jalapenos, so we'll see. Maybe too stressed. I'm letting this grow down here. These were just self-seeded tomatoes, and can never have too many tomatoes. So I've been trying to keep these to just one stem. It's been difficult. A lot of these are cherry tomatoes, which is not the best for cherry tomatoes. This is, I think, Crazy Berries cherry tomato. We'll see. Lots of flowers on here that I'm sure not all of them were pollinated, but a good portion. You can see in here I've got quite a bit on. I've never tasted these before, so that'll be a first for me. Yeah, they are loaded. But I am being better about keeping most of this watered on a regular basis too. I don't need blossom end rot. I get on a good side with being dry. I've had no issues with blight, that's for sure. There's a plus with that. I think this might be Dr. White Cheese. maybe. Or that one, I forget. I know there's a Paul Robeson and Dr. White Cheese. I'll know by the color. Doing pretty good. I got a lot of fruit up top. That makes me a little bit nervous. And over here is Hungarian Heart. We don't have many on this one, but you know what? I got two on that one. Oh, I do have a little one in back. I love Hungarian Heart. And down here, oh, I lost the tag. It might be a Dr. White Cheese. This one's really good this year. Looking a lot better. You can see the leaves have stopped curling. Very happy. It's rebounded nicely. I'm glad I left them. This is Paul Robeson. This is prolific. Look at that is crazy. And have them up top and down in here. Very happy with that one so far. This is Italian Heirloom. Can't wait. That one, like I said, finally, these look good. If you followed me on my vegetable tour, you know how horrible they looked. I was very concerned. So, said a lot of growth up top. I think I'm going to have to top some of these at some point, because they will just fall over from the weight. This is a hefty fruit. Then in here is, I bet the tag's gone. These squirrels, what is, oh no, I feel it. This is a polka. So this is kind of what the leaves look like for the longest time. You can see the bottom ones, but as we go up, way better looking. But the apolka look like that. Isn't that weird? I've got some bigger ones back here. Never grown those before, so that'll be a new one. We'll see how I like all of these. I try and grow heirloom varieties, but I know I've also grown some hybrids that I might have to try next year too. I still don't know the variety of this because this was supposed to be a blueberries one, and it's definitely not, but oh, that is so good. The flavor is excellent. And I've got some more up here. So if anyone knows this, it was in the seed packet with the blueberries. Look at all of these. I'm gonna get rid of that one. That one's split. You can self-seed. Aren't they so pretty? Wow. I need to get out here a little bit more and check this. I water, and sometimes I just, as I'm watering, I'm weeding, and I'm not looking at anything else. And these are really good too. Very prolific. Next year though, if I grow these again, I definitely won't do the one vine. Not for cherries. But I will get a lot. Back here you can see this pepper plant looks absolutely beautiful. But not one bloom. So maybe the uglier they are, the better they are. My purple basil, and this basil I started from seed. Dark opal. And I'm just leaving it kind of as a companion plant. I'm not deadheading it. Every now and then I might munch on a leaf out here. I'm not much of a cook. I hate saying that. Most of my vegetables I eat raw. Oh, that one's stuck on here. So these are the suyo, oh, the dragon suyo. I'll be harvesting these. They have a little more prickly skin and a little more ribbed. So peeling these are a little difficult, but just cutting them up with the skins on, and the skins are quite thin. Most of the time I leave the skins on, but look at the size of it. Like I said, cucumbers have been really good this year. Some of my friends have been pulling their plants because they're already petering out. Again, my shade is probably helping me somewhat. Very happy with that. And then over here, this one's not been doing so good. I've been cutting off some of these leaves. Hasn't been very prolific. It says it is. It's lunchbox. This is a hybrid. You can see I have little ones on, and then this. I do like it because it's a smoother skin. I mean, great for munching on. But we got some more up top here, so maybe I spoke too soon. And then back here I have a lima bean. I've never grown lima beans before. My mom really likes them, so I'm growing them for her. I'll definitely try them. I try everything once. I don't think there's anything that I haven't liked yet for vegetables. I'm not a picky eater. Oh, I have more down here. Wow. I did get rid of the peas in front. I think they were sugar magnolia, purple tendril, something like that. I wasn't impressed with the flavor. I'm not putting them in again. They didn't have a lot of flavor. So I went with my little peas that I have in here, and they were really good. I think they were sugar bomb. I have a Kajari melon here. I am not seeing any fruit production yet. Lots of flowers. But we come over here to Minnesota midget. Look. Isn't that cute? This is the first I've ever grown a melon. I am so super excited. And then I have one down here. I hope it stays. I have to figure out a way to support this so it doesn't fall off before it ripens. But oh, I was so excited to see that. Just enough for a taste to see if it's worth growing. I know I have a bunch of little ones on somewhere. It's funny how maybe they've, oh no, you can see, hopefully you can see. That's that tiny little dude right there. And then I have another big one down in here, just hanging. So like I said, I gotta figure out how to support that. It is shaded right now, but it's early morning. It will get the sun, that blazing sun. Probably is getting a little shaded out now from my huge tomatoes. In here, I turned my fire pit into a planter, so I put zucchini in here. Maybe it'll do better over in here. Who knows? I would just like enough for a meal. I'm not asking for much, am I? Oh, Cleome, what can I say about that? Such a beautiful flower. It just keeps on blooming. It's what's interesting about this is it starts looking like a tree, at least to me. I'll show you over here. Turn real quick. Don't want to make you dizzy. So yeah, so it's got the stalk, and then it starts branching out kind of like in a tree form, which is kind of cool, I think. Cosmos is looking really good. Bunny ears they would be doing better, but I've had some, with the rain, like the gomphrena here has kind of fallen forward. I've been staking it a little bit more with some twine. Like I said, this usually ends up looking a little like a hot mess later on in the season, but I'm still okay with it. Huge pollinator garden. Scent is absolutely wonderful. I have some deadheading to do with my Tithonia, but oh, I can't say enough about Tithonia. I think everybody should grow it. It is probably one of the easiest plants to grow, and it never stops blooming. And the monarchs, I can't wait to show you when they really come in. Cleome too, though. First year for growing it. Absolutely, it's a little tall. I mean, considering I'm looking up to it, especially this one over here. But you can see all of these varieties were supposed to be Rose Queen. But yeah, you've got a light pink here and a dark pink here. And then you can see this garden is a little shorter. And this one is just gigantic. same soil, same watering, same amount of sun for the most part. So, the hyacinth bean vine is doing okay. I probably wouldn't have needed it because honestly, like last year, the Mexican sunflower Tithonia has just taken over. So, nice thing about this trellis here is I'm supporting my Tithonia by that. So that's helped out a lot. Zinnias look really good. Need to keep up on the deadheading. The Comfrey, now what can I say? That is an absolutely amazing plant. I love it. Sweet peas, I have a lot of trimming to do on that. You can see I've been trying to do it every day, but holy cow, they've been very prolific. So I need to get on that so they keep blooming. They still look good considering. My Verbena here, look how big this has gotten. Like it's definitely a lot bigger than it was last year. Roses, look how wonderful they look. I had fertilized them, maybe 2 weeks ago and trimmed them. And this new flush of blooms is absolutely wonderful. So thrilled with these. And also Easy Rose. And for Zone 4 gardeners, before you go out and buy them, these are hardy to Zone 5 and up. When I purchased them off of the site, it said Zone 4. So when I see Zone 4, I'm like, yes, I can do this. And when I got them, the tag said Zone 5. So I take a chance every year that I could lose these. But so far, they've come back. So just warning you that they're hardy from a Zone 5 and up. I moved this one here. You can see it's been yellowing a little bit, and it's not been overwatered. But this salvia here is rockin' fuchsia, and this is like a shrub. One plant in here. And hummingbirds love it. And I think it looks really good over here with the green zinnia. I was hoping this was a little better, but okay. Nosferatu Daylily. At least I know this variety. Look how dark that is. I love it. And with this entire area, how it kind of plays off that deep color here, the yellow of the dahlia, and then this color. I think that grouping is really nice. Be careful when you deadhead these because these are really goopy and it will stain your finger. Dahlias are still blooming their heads off, as at least these are. And these are ones that I was able to overwinter in my garage. Been picking a lot. This had fallen over, and with that rain we had, so I staked it up. Love scaevola. First year for growing it. Oh, I haven't done anything to it. I just watered it. It's an unbelievable annual. No fuss. Better than bacopa. I can't get bacopa to bloom, so I've stopped growing that. And you can see that the scaevola back here is aggressive. I love it. My lily has been blooming now probably for 2 weeks. It should be just this height, but it shot up this high this year, and that's okay. I'm leaving it. I don't know the variety. It smells wonderful. It's an oriental lily. I don't have issues with lily beetles. So the Russian sage is doing what it does every year, I thought, with the drier season and with me really cutting it back to basically nothing. It wouldn't flop like this. I'm not gonna lie, I think we're done. I mean, I love it. I love the scent on it. I love everything about it. I can't grow lavender in my zone, so this to me is the next step. And I think it's more of a location. I think this sun from these roses back is full sun. And anything kind of this way is a little more part sun depending on certain areas. But I know Russian sage, the more sun you can give it, the better it does. But yeah, it is very floppy. It's not something that I cage up because it's a very upright plant with dainty foliage, and it's something where you will see the cage. And I like, I don't know, that kind of laciness and delicateness of this plant. Certain things, yes, I'll put in cages, like peonies and even the dahlias, but their foliage will cover that cage at some point. And I've even tried, and once the Russian sage flops, what happens is then it starts reaching for the sun and it bends. So back here you can see, and it's pushing, this is tall garden phlox David, and it's pushing that back, it's leaning. I need to think about what I want to plant there though. Something that's maybe 2 feet tall. I think that would be a good size back there. White Wands Veronica is going over. I'm still leaving it. The bees are crazy about it. It still looks pretty good. And I did trim up this Nepeta. I have to, the others, the bees were loaded on the other one, so I left them. And then I'm having an issue again with the sedum here. Love the sedum. It is a very beautiful sedum. I love the color of the flowers later on. But it splits. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to give it one more year, but I'm going to divide all of these. And I'll just fill in this entire area. And we'll see what happens next year. If they do the same, and I might do like a Chelsea chop in June. See if that helps. And to me, I'll be probably trimming it back by half. These lamb's ears have filled in. I'm amazed. If you watched my tour where I first planted, not where I planted them, but where I had them in the garden, there's one stalk. My bee balm went over. I'm sad. This was probably my favorite. Bees are still loving it, so I'm going to leave it. I love the scent of the foliage of bee balm too. This is another tall garden phlox and smells amazing. I don't know the variety of this one, but it had seeded over here. So I will be digging that up and putting it in other areas. Love the tall garden phlox. And this variety, if I saw correctly, is resistant to powdery mildew. Coneflower. Some more of my beautiful roses here. I know this tour is getting a little long, so. But I'm just kind of hitting on everything because I'm not sure when I'll do the next tour. I might do an August, but so much stuff is in bloom right now that the garden looks really good at this moment. Isn't that beautiful? The white datura, and that's loaded. That's bounced back really nicely. Grasses are huge. No blooms on these dahlias yet. That's okay. They do tend to bloom more in August for me. And they might like the weather a little bit better too. Let's see. I think I hit on everything in this garden. I do have squash planted in here. I might rethink that. They're just seeds I started. I didn't buy any of this. These sweet peas, this is what I wanted to show you. So I have two kinds in here. I have Edward of York and then Molly Railstone. Isn't it unreal how Edward of York is a shorter variety? So that's good to know if I do them again for next year, because these probably would work on those other obelisks. And then Molly Railstone, and she's grown up here. So I've got this light pink here, kind of with a skirt of this brighter pink. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The scent is amazing. So yeah. The rain did this where it kind of bent this a little bit, but it still looks good. I'm okay with that. Zinnias look wonderful. The bird is no longer nesting in there. My cosmos did bite the dust. The wind and rain just smushed it. So I have an empty pot. So, what can I do? So this is a little lime hydrangea. And I think next year I'm not going to prune it. And only reason being is because it is so much smaller than the other ones and it looks a little weird here, but I'm still liking it. You can see that it comes off of lime green like its name. Eventually they will all age and blush to like this pink mauve color. This hydrangea here is loaded. I thought this one was not going to make it because it had so much leaf curl and just wasn't looking good, and proved me wrong. Thank goodness. And these are massive. Look at that. These are all paniculatas, so that means they bloom on new growth. They're probably the best hydrangea for my zone. You can see that little, the sun is right on this. Okay, you can see a little bit of the pink starting there. They are spectacular. And then there's this hydrangea here too. I do like this. It's a little more delicate, not quite so full. But that is also loaded and just starting. And these are all in full sun. So they might get some shade probably around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, but other than that, they're always in sun. But then I am a northern gardener, so it is a little bit different here. Aren't they beautiful? Another plus with being dry, I'm not having to worry about them getting bent down yet. I know they're talking storms, so this planter is doing fantastic. I love this ivy geranium, Sophie Cascade. I will be taking some cuttings at some point with this. The Verbena is doing what I wanted it to do, and I'm letting it just go all over. I want it to look like this beautiful mess, and that's what it looks like, and I love it. I wish it was a little shadier over here so I can kind of show you, because to me Verbena is a see-through plant too. Because you got all this spikiness here, not a whole lot of foliage, very narrow, and then you got the little tufts at the top. Lovely scent to Verbena. I can't say enough about Verbena. But yeah. So on a little side note, I have a subscription to BritBox through Amazon, and I've been watching Gardener's World. Absolutely, probably my most favorite gardening show ever. It's, I would say, first-time gardener, you would probably want to watch it because you get so many tips, especially with taking cuttings, propagation, starting seeds, lots of inspiration. So hopefully in here, and love Monty Don, he's just amazing. But I took cuttings of my hydrangeas. It's the first time I'm doing it. It may or may not work. I'm out nothing. I have water in the bottom here, so it keeps it nice and wet. I have this dome on here to keep some humidity in. It's going to be in the 90s today, so I'm hoping this doesn't cook it, but it's in the shade right now. I just took these probably 3 days ago, and so far they're looking really great, but I have 4 in each one. So we'll see, because I wanted to do it with the honeysuckle too, and I've done it with my Coleus. I did that last year, but I did one salvia this year because they had a little show on that you can do it with salvias. And I have it down here, and so far it looks pretty good. I mean, it's got 2 little growths there. It's been a little bit. I'll give it probably another week before I check on the root system. But yeah, I can't say enough about Gardener's World. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm like, I don't think there's any other gardener's TV show that compares to that. At least I haven't found. And so yeah, that's my go-to for everything. So that's a reason why I've done cuttings. It's why I've grown Verbena. It's why I'm growing Cosmos, as in sweet peas. It's like I have to try sweet peas because it just... So yeah, so I can't say. I think it might be $6.99, $7.99 through Amazon, but yeah, it's called BritBox, and I mean there's other shows on it too that are definitely worth watching. But yeah, it's my go-to, especially if I'm just having one of those days. I'm like, I just have to have it on. But yeah, oh, isn't this canna looking wonderful? Just love it. I did have to stake it up because the rain and wind did bend it. So we'll see how well that works. But that pop of color there is amazing. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this tour. I know it did get a little bit long, and I know I'm always apologizing, but there are some viewers out there that definitely don't like longer videos, and I know I shouldn't fixate on those viewers because I love long videos, so I guess I should just do what I like to. I wish there were more garden tours out there because I can just sit and relax and watch that, especially after a hectic day at work. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed, and bye for now.